Alright, so since Cold War's been out, I've been playing a lot of Modern Warfare, but of course I have mixed in some Cold War time as well, and while Cold War does have a couple things I enjoy, like a working minimap, I started to ask myself a very, well, frustrating question, and it's frustrating because ever since I asked myself, it's been nagging at the back of my mind, and while I said in my last video that I was going to wait and figure out what my opinion was before making a video, no, I just have to get this off my chest right now. The nagging question was, do I actually prefer Modern Warfare's minimap system? In Modern Warfare, you don't show up on the minimap when you fire an unsuppressed weapon unless a UAV or personal radar is active. You do, however, show up on the compass so people can see your general direction. And then suppressors keep you off of the compass 100% of the time. The most prominently used suppressors are ones that don't hurt your range or the one that helps your range a little bit. So suppressors were often used, and being able to pinpoint people was very hard. Again, complex maps, lack of a dead silence and amplify perk, and then also the fact that you do lose your streak entirely and you can only get your kill streaks from getting kills because nobody was running point man, and the fact that Ghost didn't work when moving, it just worked all the time. It really facilitated the camping issues in Modern Warfare, and it really made game modes without objectives unbearable to play. Now, objective game modes are so sweaty, it feels like everybody I'm playing against is trying out for main stage, but whatever. But that's not the point. Do I actually prefer Modern Warfare's minimap and compass style, and if it was combined with a Ghost perk that only works when moving, suppressor downsides instead of upsides, and a working dead silence amplify perk combination, would that have been the perfect system? In my opinion, as of right now, and this might have something to do with my bias against Treyarch's design decisions in Cold War, but I honestly kind of prefer Modern Warfare's system. Any video game I play since playing Modern Warfare, and also games like Insurgency, I really forget to watch my radar, my minimap. When I play older Call of Duty games or Halo, I just keep forgetting to check my minimap or my motion sensor. I just keep forgetting. In fact, in Halo, somebody moving at full speed can still sneak up on me because I'm just not darting my eyes to the corner of my screen constantly. And in Modern Warfare, I had my screen margin set so my compass is a little bit lower than average, and I sit far away enough from my monitor that it was always in my view. I could see where a red dot was and whether or not I was facing it after a gunshot was heard. Modern Warfare was the game I messed with audio the most, playing with in-game presets, my mix amps presets, different audio settings, Windows Sonic, Dolby Atmos, and just standard stereo. So I was trying, and I've now succeeded at finding the perfect combination of settings so I can figure out where gunfire is coming from with my ears and with the added visual of the compass. In games like Insurgency Sandstorm, I'm listening for different guns, and if I don't see a teammate around me, because you can see their little blue diamonds through walls, and I hear a Barrett 50 cal go off, I'm pretty good at figuring out where that Barrett 50 cal is firing from. One of the things I do in Modern Warfare as well is figure out which way my teammate is firing, and if my teammate's AI calls out, "There's an enemy by the buses," you might think that's not a great call out. But if I hear that that came from my left, and I look at my teammate and the teammate's facing some buses, often that's probably what the AI called out, the buses that that teammate on my left is facing, and it helps me figure out positioning. Seeing my teammates die on the minimap, because luckily there is a minimap and you can see where your teammates die in core mode, and knowing that the teammate entered like clothing store on Piccadilly, talking about Piccadilly still, they enter a clothing store and then I hear a slap of a suppressed shotgun, and then suddenly my teammate has disappeared. I look at the kill feed and see that yes, that teammate did die by a shotgun in clothing store, and I can sort of subconsciously triangulate that person's position and kind of guess where they're going to be, and likely in clothing store, it's going to be behind the counter with a suppressed 680. When Modern Warfare first came out, I talked about the importance of hiding your tracers or vapor trails because those are two different things in Modern Warfare, and why I always use suppressors. People would tell me that that's not really important and no one's looking for it, but those comments soon stopped about a month or two into the game's life cycle. People started realizing that that visual of seeing vapor trails fly through the air or tracers fly through the air, it's important stuff. You see where I'm going with this. Basically, Modern Warfare made me pay a lot more attention to the game, the world surrounding me, and keeping my eyes not glued on the minimap, but instead, I'm watching my surroundings, my physical surroundings, and I'm listening for sounds. I'm listening for footsteps, reloading sounds, guns going off. And in Black Ops Cold War, suppressors hurt your range and unsuppressed fire shows up on the minimap and people just have dead silence mostly always. So I really don't pay as much attention in Cold War because I'm not listening for something that's not going to make any sound, and every time I hear an unsuppressed gun in Cold War, my first instinct is to look for the compass or to look around me, but instead I just need to look up at the minimap and figure out where the shots are coming from. Now, I'm not reversing my position or flip-flopping. Modern Warfare would have been drastically less campy with a normal minimap and suppressor system, plus a ghost that only works when moving and a dead silence perk and an amplify perk. That all would have been great. But I think I appreciate Modern Warfare a lot more when I realize that I am actually focusing on the game and not the little screen inside of my screen. When I hear that there's a friendly UAV inbound, then I check the minimap. That's sort of a nice breath of fresh air. But unfortunately the ghost perk hides them even if they're sitting in a corner, so that kind of sucked. But I think if that ghost perk would have been changed, I think if we had score streaks instead of kill streaks, just those two things alone would have made Modern Warfare a much less campy game. And I have to say, constantly gluing my eyes to a motion sensor or minimap is not as fun as actually utilizing my environment to figure out where people are, where the combat is, where the action is, where I'm getting shot at from. I think one of the reasons Modern Warfare grabbed certain people is that subconsciously or consciously, I say that a lot, but subconsciously or consciously, they were paying more attention. They had to pay more attention. And, well, that's gonna be more engaging than paying less attention. What can I say? I think the best moments in shooters come from when you're focusing the most. Whether you realize it or not, your accomplishments are greater when you are more involved in the process of solving the problem. This is one of the reasons I don't agree with having a dead silence perk. Now, I do think Modern Warfare should have had one because the community was begging for it, but they had a good motive behind making dead silence a speed boosting, completely silence making field upgrade. Like, there was a really good motivation behind that, I think. And that was that you have to gauge when you use it. You have to choose that moment. And it'll, stay active as long as you're killing with it, so it did reward skill. And it did make you faster, so that was also good. It was an overall boost to your character for a considerable amount of time if you could keep going on a streak. Some of my most fun matches are when I pop dead silence and go from 0 to a 7 kill streak very, very quickly, just never having my dead silence run out. When that happens, it feels great. And getting snuck up on by a knifer or someone using Kali sticks in Modern Warfare is a lot less frustrating because I know they had to wait and use their dead silence like it was a consumable, like it was something they could run out of. Like an overshield or a speed boost in Halo, they have to sort of time the usage of things just right. Even abilities in Halo like Armor Lock, which are hated by the community, are still consumables that, if used at the wrong time, just makes you a sitting duck target that someone can just watch and wait for an easy kill. And dead silence is something that you can activate and then immediately die because you were stupid. You activated it in the wrong spot, you lost the gunfight right after activating it, and you're punished for it. In Black Ops Cold War, what it really annoys me is that people just run around completely silent. They don't worry about how close they are to you or if I'm gonna hear you. And in Modern Warfare, when I don't have dead silence active, I crouch through doorways, I peek doors, I ADS walk, and I try to keep my footsteps down so I can sneak up on an opponent. In fast-paced, sweaty games, that doesn't really happen that often. It's quite frustrating, but still, having a permanent dead silence perk just makes everything a lot more trivial. Your positioning and your movement and how loud you're being becomes a lot more trivial. That's why I say hell yeah to using dead silence, but I do think an amplify perk should also be in any game that has a dead silence perk. So if somebody wants to hear a dead silence user, they can, because what's really annoying about Cold War is having somebody sprint right behind you and just have no penalty for doing so. Like in Black Ops Cold War, if I'm in a room and the map is quiet, 3 people can run into my room and I don't hear 3 grown-ass men charging into my building, and I don't think, oh, I'll switch to Amplify. I think, oh, I really better just head glitch and watch doorways because I really would rather not get flanked by squads of people using dead silence. Dead silence being as good as it is in Black Ops Cold War makes me constantly worry about my back, whereas in Modern Warfare, it made me constantly wonder when the right time to proc it was. I think the best option is have a dead silence perk that is 100% countered by an amplify perk, and have the amplify perk be in a category with other really good resistance perks like Flak Jacket or Tac Mask, because then an amplify user could counter a dead silence user and a dead silence user could counter the amplify user by using explosives or concussions. Anyway, these are the thoughts I've been having. Maybe Modern Warfare feels more immersive and unique to me because it's the first Call of Duty to really make me pay attention to my environment. what doors open, what doors closed, where did that explosion come from, where did that gunfire come from, I saw the vapor trail whiz by, I think that person's right in front of me or to the left or something, you know, where did my teammate just call out? I find my eyes darting around my entire screen instead of just parking my eyes on my minimap and waiting for information. One of the things I love about Halo is that, yeah, you show up on the minimap within like 25-15 meters of somebody, but if you crouch, then you don't. Or if you really walk slowly, but that's a little bit harder to do for me on keyboard and mouse because left stick superiority. Either way, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you agree with it, or at least made you think, leave a like. If you don't agree with it, let me know why in the comments section below. See you when I see you guys. Goodbye.